So if you've purchased a reverse camera to add to your car, you'll get these 4 things included. So here's just some screws to mount the main camera, and this is the main camera. And you can see that they go here. You want to make sure it's mounted this way, not upside down, because it's going to flip the image. So it's supposed to be like, hung like this. I think you can flip it in the settings as well if you have to. But there's the main camera, and it has these 2 connectors. So one is for the video feed and the other one is for the power. So in order for the camera to work, it needs to get power. This is the main power cable here. I can remove this little bundle from it, and you can see that there's a red and a black wire. And if you want, you can just pull the ends apart so you get 2 separate wires. So what we want to do is 2 things. We want to send the power to the camera, but we also want to tell the main head unit, the radio head unit, when to go into reverse mode. So that's called the reverse trigger. And the best way is to do both things at once. So this is the reverse video feed. You can see we plug this in here, and then it also plugs into the back of the head unit. But there's these little red tails coming off of it, and this is to carry the reverse trigger. So this is a big 6-meter length wire, and that'll run through your car. So if you don't use the reverse trigger, then the head unit will never go into reverse mode. It has no way to know when to go into reverse mode. So the best way to do it is to actually get power from the reverse lights, because your car's reverse lights only come on when you're in reverse. And if we power everything with the reverse lights and send that as the trigger, then when the reverse lights come on, that's how the head unit will know you're in reverse. So that's the best way to do it. Now what that means is that we're going to put positive and negative, so red and black. We're going to take the power from the reverse lights. So all you'll need to do is pull apart like the back area of your car until you find the reverse light assembly. There'll be 2 wires going into the reverse light, one's positive, one's negative. You can just quickly Google about which color wire is positive and negative. It's different for every car. Then once you've done that, that will power the reverse camera, and we will send the video feed to the back of the head unit. All we need to do is also send the positive, not the negative, send the positive through this wire so that it comes out at the other end. So the easiest way to do that is to actually completely pull apart these 2 cables. So you've got 2 little wires, the red and the black. If you pull them all the way apart, so they're about there, then what you can do is you can splice this red wire to this red wire. And what that will do is that this is going to your reverse lights, and when that gets power, not only will it power the camera, but it'll also send the feed through this cable, which comes out the other end. And then obviously you have to send the black to the ground, which is the negative version of the reverse light power, and that happens at the reverse light as well. So these 2 both go to the reverse light. These 2 need to be connected in order to get the reverse trigger to the head unit, and you can just splice those. And then over at the head unit end of things, you've got your main head unit, and it has the reverse feed. You just plug that into there, and then in order to tell this thing that we're in reverse mode, this little red tail needs to go in. So I'll show you, there's a few different options. Most harnesses will have a bunch of wires, and there'll be one that's labeled, it'll either be labeled back or reverse. If you have a harness that has any, sometimes there's a bunch of labeled wires. If one of them says back, then that's how you know that's the one. It's usually pink or brown, but not always. So then you would just splice these 2 together, plug that into the main assembly there. But if you have, for example, this wiring harness has a CAN bus with it, and the reverse trigger is, there is nothing labeled back. So to get the reverse trigger, here's a bulletproof, foolproof way to know. So if you look at the colors of the wires, there's always a black, a red, and then a wire. So in my case, it's black, then red, then pink. Yours might be black, then red, then brown. The colors don't matter because, as I said, the back wire may be different colors. But what I can do is I can pull that third wire. So I've got black, then red, then pink. That third one is the back wire, always, no matter its color. So it's a pink one, and in my case, it's actually going into the CAN bus. So on this particular car, some models have a reverse camera already and others don't. If it has one already, then this is set up to just pick up the car's existing reverse signal. But in this particular case, it does not have a reverse camera, and we're going to add one, which means the CAN bus won't actually work. It won't actually tell the head unit when to go into reverse. So in that case, I need to cut this wire. Now, I don't want to cut it all the way down here. It's going to be too difficult to splice. So what I can do is undo some cable ties if you've got them, whatever you need to do, just to make it easier to get to. And then that pink one, make sure you're following them. Sometimes you might have a couple that are the same color. So just make sure you're doing, not getting it confused. It's always the third one next to, so you got black, red, and then whatever the reverse signal, the reverse trigger. So what I would do now is cut it here. And if I cut the wire here, I'm going to have two sections. One will go into the CAN bus module and one will go into the head unit. The one going to the CAN bus module, we can leave that. We don't need that because it's obviously not getting power. It's not working. But the one going into the head unit is where I want to connect this little reverse trigger. So we always want to send it directly into the head unit. So I would chop that one there. Again, yours might be a different color, but it's always the third one. And then you want to send it in to the head unit that way. Once you do that, it's electrically set up. So when you go into reverse mode, then the screen should go into reverse mode. You may just get a black picture. That's fine. That's a little settings thing. We can fix that. But main thing is that it is picking up the reverse signal. Now, some cars, they do have a CAN bus, but the wire for reverse, so again, the third one, in this case, it's also pink. It doesn't go to the CAN bus. It goes up to here, but there's nothing connected to it. In that case, same process, just cut the wire somewhere. And then the part going into the head unit is where we want to connect this to. So you'll just have to cut that wire. It can be a bit different on different harnesses, but always that third one is the reverse trigger wire. If when you're going to reverse, nothing's changing on the screen, then 100% of the time, it's a wiring problem. We test these all before sending them out. And we test the reverse trigger and the camera settings. So if it's not picking up reverse, either it means that you haven't set this properly, or back here, you haven't connected this tail. So again, this tail needs to go to red. Once you've done that, follow the next video. I'll show you how to set up the reverse settings. So typically when you set up a camera, the screen will just be black. There'll be no video feed. That's what I'll help with in the next video.